This is SAii Phi Phi Island Village. It's located on the mid-west coast of Phi Phi Island, and it's a slice of tropical paradise in the Andaman Sea, away from the backpacker tourist chaos over at Ton Sai, and it's accessed a short distance away from the Ton Sai Pier by boat, and it feels far more isolated. This is the Phi Phi Island you visualise when you want to get away for a relaxing island treat. I looked at SAii Phi Phi on Google Maps and the satellite view sort of turned me off a little. It looked too big, too many bungalows, and I thought maybe this is more of a budget hotel packed with loud, pushy tourists, and it's not the sort of relaxing holiday I was craving for. If I wanted busy and touristy, then I'd stay at the main Ton Sai area. Just while I'm on this shot, that's Phi Phi Lay in the background, definitely worth a boat trip over to see Maya Bay and the other lagoons. It's an easy 20 to 30 minute trip over by longtail boat. This is SAii Phi Phi Village Resort, and you can see it's low tide. Remember this image for later. So because of the Google Map image and the size of the resort, I had this picture in my head of long queues of people for breakfast and a packed beach. I wasn't positive that SAii looked like the laid-back destination I was looking for, so I kept looking further up the west coast and ended up staying at the northern end of the island at Zavola Resort. I've done a review on that resort and I'll leave a link in the description. On the way to stay at Zavola, the speedboat stopped for about 5 minutes to drop people off at SAii Phi Phi Village. The tide was half out, so our speedboat stopped offshore to transfer the guests to a smaller boat to get them ashore. Even from out in the bay, SAii Phi Phi looked intriguing and had a draw to it that I wanted to get off the boat and stay there. The palm trees and limestone cliff backdrop made the location appealing. So a year later, I hopped online, found the resort, booked, and wham bam boom, we were there. The resort is large, but my original thoughts about being too crowded, busy, sort of budget resort disappeared instantly on arrival. The resort looks so much better than the Google Map image. This is the speedboat shuttle service scooting around the southwestern tip of the island after leaving a stop at Ton Sai Pier. This speedboat leaves Rasita Pier in Phuket, stops at Ton Sai Pier on Phi Phi Island, before continuing to SAii Phi Phi Island Village. I've done a separate video on transferring from Phuket to Phi Phi Island. And again, there'll be a link in the description to that video. You can catch the standard ferry from Phuket to Phi Phi and then transfer to a longtail boat, which would be cheaper, but it takes a lot longer and it's much more effort in transferring with bags and then finding a longtail boat at Ton Sai. With the speedboat, you board in Phuket or Krabi. You'll then stop at Ton Sai Pier on Phi Phi Island, and then you stay on the same boat and get dropped straight to SAii. The type of arrival and departure you have at SAii Phi Phi can vary depending on the tide and the mode of transport you take. If you remember that previous aerial shot of the bay and resort, you can see that the sand in the shallow bay will be exposed, and it's a long way offshore at low tide. The resort does not have a long jetty jutting out into the bay, and they don't use a tractor trailer like some of the other resorts, and I'm happy they don't. If the tide is out and you arrive by speedboat, it'll stop maybe 200 or 300 metres offshore, and you'll be transferred to a smaller, shallow-bottom dinghy where it will carry you closer to the shore until you'll need to disembark again and wade, say, the last 100 or so metres to the resort. Those people on the left aren't actually arriving, they've just been on some day tour and the boat's dropped them off. Once the boat gets to sort of ankle deep water, that's when it'll stop and offload you, and then you'll walk the rest of the way to the hotel. The hotel will take care of your luggage for you, so you don't have to worry about that. So a quick tip is to wear water-friendly footwear on arrival. So the arrival is quite different from most resorts, however the water is warm, and for me it just added to the island vibe straight away. Just for full clarification, The resort did not know we were doing this review, and we paid full price for every stay we've stayed at SAii Phi Phi Island Village. We've been here several times, and the arrival has been slightly different on each visit. In this case, the speedboat got much closer to the shore, and the dinghy was pulled in by one of the staff members instead of using a outboard motor.
I'm rusty on this baby. I'm still your man.
In the background you'll see a longtail boat, and that's another way of arriving if you don't come by speedboat. So if you caught the ferry to Ton Sai Pier and then hired a longtail boat at Ton Sai to bring you around by longtail, that's the sort of boat you'd come on, and that can get quite a lot closer to the shore. But if it's shallow, you'll still have to get out and walk.
I've let you down, baby, but I'm still your man. Ain't been around lately, but I'm still your man. We don't have forever. It's more than we can see. It's all about
In this shot you can see the speedboat was able to come up all the way to the shore and offload people onto a small walkway. The tide will rise higher than this, and you will see that later in another video when we're departing. The tide was up past that wooden platform. For most people it will just be pot luck. None of the arrivals have been an issue for us, no matter where the tide's been at. However, I think if you're in a wheelchair or have mobility issues, then the arrival would be more difficult than normal, and it would be wise to let the resort know, because I'm sure they'll have a smooth transfer plan for you. This aerial shows you just how far the tide can recede. There's quite a lot of sand, quite a lot of distance between the shoreline and where the actual boats pull up to. If you are wading ashore, then head for the ramp in the middle of the wooden seawall. Several times I've seen people in front of us either heading to the left or to the right, thinking that's the way around because they see the wall and they think, oh, I've got to go around that. But then they'll end up having to come back into the centre to the check-in area. The Arrivals Lounge is an open air space where you can sit and relax while they check you in. On previous days they had a delicious self-service cookies or large cookie jars available all day in this area. On our last day, the cookies weren't available anymore, so I'm not sure if that's something they've stopped or they just weren't available. This is from our previous day where they still had the tables down the centre and the cookie jars and snacks down the middle. And they also give you sort of some welcome drinks, like fruity welcome drinks, and the scented cool refresher towels, which are really nice after you've walked in from the boat transfer. This is the relatively large gift shop on the left here, on the left of the Arrival Lounge, and then we're stepping back through the Arrivals Lounge, and you can see the smaller Departure Lounge straight ahead on the right before we step into the main reception desk building. That's through the Arrivals Lounge here, and this blue back building here, that's where the sort of main reception desk, or the desk that if you want to speak to the staff while you're staying, that's where the desk is there. Once the room key is sorted, then they will escort you to a buggy to take you to your bungalow. The buggies are a great way of getting around, remembering the size of the resort. It's quite large and you could get lost quite easily, especially when you just arrived. And then the heat is also a factor. You never see, the videos can never just show you or give you a feel of the heat and the humidity that is around when you're going around these resorts in Thailand. So the buggies are an excellent way of getting around without working up sweat. If the information in the video is helpful for you, please consider giving a thumbs up, and that'll help the channel. Thank you. These are the beachfront bungalows just off onto the right hand side here. And then also off to the right here is the what they call the fun pool. I'll show you two of the bungalows we've stayed in different parts of the resort in relation to the main building area. A Superior Garden Bungalow near the fun pool and a Deluxe Bungalow over near the tennis court. How anyone ever plays tennis in the humidity in Thailand is beyond me, but lots of people do it. Bungalow 207, when we booked, was called a Superior Garden Bungalow 1 King. The bed might even be a Super King. It's very close to what they call the fun pool and close to 2 of the 4 dining areas and about 3 bungalow rows back from the beach. The rooms are spacious and simple, not overly glamorous compared to some other 5-star resorts. The bed does have easy access power points on both sides of the bed. Mattress is very comfortable and air conditioning was fine. The bathroom is separated by a sliding door with separate toilet and shower rooms. Lighting was good, and it has a large walk-in wardrobe with storage. The room is fairly basic, but it's clean, spacious and comfortable. At this side of the resort, it's a longer walk to the breakfast and reception area, but a short buggy ride away. On another visit, we stayed near the back of the resort, which at first I thought was a negative, but it turned out to be a great option. Bungalow 8107 is called a Deluxe Garden Bungalow 1 King. Again, this is a spacious room. It felt a little smaller than the other bungalow, but I preferred the layout and the fit out. It was like newer and fresh. This is a shorter walk to breakfast and also an easy walk out the back of the resort to the village shops and bars. The room has plenty of light and is relatively private, ample power outlets, comfortable mattress, no noise from the tennis court, complimentary water and plenty of room to spread out. No complaints about this room whatsoever. The room had a smaller walk-in robe than the other one, but plenty of space still. The bathroom was more upmarket and again better planned out. The main bedroom and bathroom were spotless, no mould, just very well maintained. The water pressure in the shower is brilliant. If I was forced to find a problem, the only thing would be the tap in the basin was a little bit short. We had a resident hut cat, so the guard cat, making sure no creepy crawlies lurked around the hut. This cluster of huts faces inward to a small clearing, so there was no issue with noise or privacy. You can order a buggy and just sit out on the balcony in the shade while you wait for it to arrive. The huts face a clearing, so there's no problem having the curtains open. Even though there are a lot of bungalows on this resort, the layout is very clever, with open spaces and strategically planted trees to screen the views and create shade and privacy. I'll show you the 2 pools, starting with the lazy pool. While I'm on this shot, I'll point out this restaurant at the end of the beach called Miss Olive Oil. You might easily miss it because in the daytime when we were out it looked like a closed building. There is another Thai restaurant that is also kind of hidden on the other side of the resort. Okay, let's get back to the pools. This is called the Lazy Pool. It's quieter, more laid back. Not a lot of deck chairs. Does have chairs you can sit in the water. I've never seen this pool very busy with lots of swimmers. Most times you'll have the pool to yourself. This could be considered more as the adults pool. And what we've found is on every trip we've been on, most of the guests seem to go out on tours during the day and the resort is relatively quiet. So you're not competing for deck chairs or space.
I've been thinking about the nights when you and I would fly. Nothing on our minds but the sunrise. Thinking about the road with nowhere else to go except the tiny sun.
Look at the front wall of the infinity pool and the colour of the pool itself. Comparing video of this pool from a previous visit in 2022, you can see they have completely renovated the pool with new tiles and render. The pool looks much brighter and fresher and it's had a complete makeover.
we're never going home. Oh, 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 where we are nobody knows. Oh, 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 and as long as we're here, we got nothing to fear. We're gonna keep
At the other end of the resort is the larger of the two pools, called the Fun Pool. This pool is made up of 5 sort of connected circular pools of different depths. The lightest shade of blue on the left is the shallowest pool, and then counterclockwise it goes deeper and deeper into each pool. The Fun Pool is not busy, but does tend to have more people and more children and more activity. It has a small water slide and a swim-up bar, and caters for toddlers and right up to adults. We're currently in the deepest part of the pool with the swim-up bar on the centre left, and this is the busiest I've seen this pool on any of our stays. And you can see Mr Tom Yam Restaurant on the right-hand side there, and they'll bring out food and drinks right to your deck chairs. And another thing to note that's different about this resort compared to a lot of beach resorts is you'll only seem to find guests from that resort on the beach. You don't get loads of day trippers and backpackers or guests from other resorts wandering into the property or on the beach. This is just people from your resort.
I've been reminiscing about those days I'm missing. You sitting by my side, oh, blow me kisses through the night. Oh, you drink while I drive, and I'm feeling so alive, feeling so alive. Going home. Oh, 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 where we are nobody knows. Oh, 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 and as long as we're here, we got nothing to fear. We're gonna keep on driving. We're gonna keep on driving.
Tucked over in the corner behind the Fun Pool is an open-air massage cabana. And again, at this pool, there is no worries about finding an empty deck chair or umbrella. We've never had a problem. There's plenty of room. You can see the pool villas up on the hill in the background there. We've never booked a pool villa just because there's so many options with the swimming pools and the ocean that we've just not seen the need to book that style accommodation at this resort. Most of the time we've been here, this is the sort of look of the pool in the resort with just no one else in it. So people must be out on day trips or somewhere else in the resort, but the pool is like empty. Virtually every time I've been there, the pool's nearly empty or completely empty, and it's just very quiet and peaceful, very relaxing. These are the beachfront villas. Again, we haven't booked one of these before, mainly because for us, unless that was right up on the water, like over the water, or right up onto the beach with nothing in front, so it's private out to the front or just a view out to the front, we'd probably book it. But being back a little bit, we just haven't seen the need. And right next to the pool, you've got Mr Tom Yam, which is open for lunch and dinner, and you can get burgers, drinks and other meals there. Then behind Mr Tom Yam is another restaurant called Ruin Thai. That's set back into the hillside, and that's a traditional Thai restaurant. About halfway along the beach and fairly central to everything, you'll find the Bean Company, which I kept calling Mr Bean. It's located to the right side of reception and the departure lounge area. It sells a range of coffee and cakes, and it's also good for when you're checking out and waiting for your ride to show up. Then down the other far left side of the resort, next to the lazy pool, is the activity centre and dive centre. It's worth a look, even if you're not going to look at going diving. They have tanks with clownfish and baby sharks, and you can organise push bikes, kayaks and dive trips from here. Right next to the tennis court at the back of the resort, you'll find the exit to the village. The local village is a real added bonus to this resort. This street's got convenience stores, clothes washing and massage, and at the end of the street it turns left and you've got some bars. And then our favourite bar is the Camel Rock, which is just at the base of the bridge on the right-hand side. The village is very laid back and friendly. It's never crowded with tourists, and it's a good place to eat and get a massage.
Driving down to Purdy, we make our way through Burley as we scramble up some change to make it home by 2:30. In the end, we always end up dancing in the moonlight.
I was here before. Oh, just a drink with fries. Fish, crab. Are they open yet? I think a must-see, both in the afternoon and at night, is Camel Rock Bar. It's decorated with thousands of items that have washed up on the island. The drinks and music are great, and we have always had a good time here, talking with the bar owner and other people on holiday. The street itself and the village at night time is very safe. There's no sort of drunken, wild people running around. There's no wild sort of bars. It's just very laid back and relaxed, and we felt totally safe the whole time we've been there.
Feeling so alive. Oh, 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 we're never going home. Oh, 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 where we are nobody knows. Oh, 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 and as long as we're here, we got nothing to fear. We're gonna keep on driving.
This cluster of circular, pointy, roofed buildings is the breakfast area, and it's surprisingly able to cater for the large resort. Breakfast is one of those make it or break it points that makes a big difference on how you feel about a hotel stay. Along with bed comfort, shower temperature and pressure and the room cleanliness, breakfast is a key factor on a remote resort when the alternate options are fewer. I'm showing you a combination of footage from different visits just to give you a feel for the resort at different times of the year. On our first stay, the hotel was nowhere near full capacity, and you could pick and choose to sit inside or out with ease. Subsequent stays, we've had busier times, meaning less choice on where to sit and more noise and busy staff. The great thing is we've never had to wait for a table. But going early when the hotel's busy is probably a better option. The range and quality of food on every stay we've had has been good, and the general service is fine. The busiest 2 days we experienced, they were a little understaffed and stressed. A couple of the staff in our area were not that helpful and obviously not happy to be servicing any extra requests. The range and quantity is quite good, so both Western and Asian food, so there's quite a big selection, and I don't think anyone's going to be upset with the breakfast. This is a refrigerated area or a cooler room. for things like the fruits and cheeses and things like that. It's got sliding doors at both sides. Of course, as usual, some guests don't bother closing the doors, but it is definitely cooler in there, and it keeps the food nice and fresh for that type of food. As I was saying, this is a compilation of a number of different trips, videos from different trips, just to give you a feel for how it is when it's quiet or busy. There was no wait ever for breakfast. Just sometimes it's a bit more of an obstacle course when the hotel's a bit busy. One other tip is on our August trip, that's the rainy season, we did experience some mosquitoes at breakfast. However, the resort did provide mosquito prevent on request, so if you get any mosquitoes, just ask for some mosquito spray. An easy trip from the resort is to go around to Nui Beach by longtail boat. Technically, you could walk by going through the village, over the bridge and along a path, passing an abandoned resort and along another beach. But the last section would be a bit more difficult, and it's a bit of a bush bash over a rocky hill. It is doable. We picked up, or more likely rescued, a couple of backpackers that had made the trek over from Tonsai and regretted it, begging us to give them a lift back. It's much easier and nicer just to rent a longtail boat from the beach in front of the resort and get a 15-minute ride around to Nui. The beach and the cove is relatively quiet and is very good for snorkeling. I've been there a few times, and the day I took my GoPro was after a storm and the water was not quite as clear as normal, but it is still very good. The coral and diversity is not as good as Koh Lipe, but still very much worth a look. When you go there by longtail, you could also tag onto that trip a visit to Wang Long Bay. You can also take the longtail boat just 5 to 10 minutes up the west coast to a small group of restaurants on the beach. Best to go when the tide is in. We went for dinner at sunset, which is really nice and just very peaceful to zip up the coast. The village there is unspoilt and calm, with kids playing on the beach and good fresh seafood. There's also a bar and a pizza place right on the beach. This stretch of beach on the northeast tip of Phi Phi Island has about 4 or 5, maybe 5 hotels or resorts stretched along up to the top of the island there. And Zavola is one of them, which I've done a review on, so you can check that out. It's quite a different type of resort than the SAii Phi Phi Island. So all you need to do is grab a longtail boat just out the front of the SAii Phi Phi on the beach there. The boat guys there will just negotiate a price, and it's pretty cheap. They'll take you around the point, up the beach a little bit to that cluster of restaurants. There's fresh seafood restaurants, and then that one that's red, white and green, that's an Italian pizza shop. And you can go for a walk on the beach, and it's very nice, especially at sunset here. You can see here it's very calm and nice warm breeze. Have dinner, no rush, they'll wait for you while you're there, so it's not worrying about having to organise another one to get back. And then when you're ready, jump on the boat and they'll take you back to the resort. If you remember earlier in the video, this had all the awnings down, this building here. This is Miss Olive Oil, the other restaurant choice, and here it is at night time with all the awnings up and the lights on. Obviously, if the tide's up, which is great if the timing's right, if the tide's up, you can come back and go straight up the little estuary rather than drop at the front of the hotel. You can come up the estuary, up the back of the resort, and they'll drop you at the bridge that goes across to into the village, and then you can walk straight into Camel Rock Bar or the other little shops and the restaurants at the back of the resort, and then walk back into the resort from the back rather than coming up the front. So that's sort of like a good way to end it. You can go and have dinner up the beach, and then drop back here, go and have a drink at one of the bars, walk through the village, and back to the resort. This is just coming up the same estuary in the daytime. Again, Miss Olive Oil with the awnings down the next day. And you can actually snorkel up this little estuary. There's lots of fish, lots of little tiny fish, and then some bigger fish feeding on them. Even though there's boats coming in and out, there's very slow, so there's no chance of really being hit. But you can snorkel right up here, and it is good to do it with the tide coming in or out, because there's a bit of a flow while the water pushes you up or pushes you back down. And you can see the little pier here on the bottom right there. That's where the longtail boat dropped us off to go to Camel Rock the night before. If you don't want to snorkel up there, you can just get a kayak from the activity centre and just kayak straight up this little estuary, and the water's very clear, so you'll be able to see right down. It's not very deep. You'll be able to see all the fish down there, and there's things in the mangrove, some lizards and things like that. This is just to give an idea of the flow, the current, the rate of when the tide's going out. It's quite fast, so there's quite a big flow that comes in and out of this little estuary when the tides is moving. Once the tide has gone out, the estuary, you won't be able to snorkel or kayak in there, and there'll just be patches of water, but the thing will stop flowing, and you have to wait till the tide to come back in if you want to go up there by boat or kayak or snorkeling. So as you can see, the tide has quite a big factor in the timing of activities. If you follow just one tip I give you, then this is the one to follow. If you're going to Maya Bay, then leave early. Organise either the day before or right after early breakfast for a longtail boat to take you over to Maya Bay. That's Phi Phi in the distance. The longtail boats are slower than the speedboats, but the trip across is fun. The reason you'd want to take a longtail, or my reason for taking a longtail, is that they leave any time that suits you, and it's private. The tours and the speedboats have more set times and tend to leave later. You want to get to Maya Bay before the day tourists from Phuket and Krabi arrive. I can't stress enough how different the experience is when you go before the rush and the madness. Leaving from Phi Phi, you have a head start, and going on a longtail means you get the jump on all the backpacker tourists coming from Ton Sai. It goes without saying that arrival at the floating pier before the crowds arrive is the only way to do it. This shot is when we were leaving, so you can already see it's starting to get busy. Later on, it'll just become a nightmare. So going early lets you see the beach the way it should be seen, and it's the same way you picture it in your own mind. So I'll stop talking and let you hear what I heard. This is about 1.5 to 2 hours after we arrive, and it's just starting to fill up. This is the same spot later in the day. I prefer the experience where you can hear the small waves breaking on the sand, and you can take photos or video without clueless tourists walking through your shot. You don't have to wait 30 minutes to get a photo with the Maya Bay sign. You'll never get a clear photo or video that you want without the crowds of tourists if you go later on. I mean, which one would you prefer? Those days you could arrive in the bay by boat and pull up on the sand with the beach to yourself are long gone. But it's a huge improvement over the period just before COVID, when the bay was full of speedboats and the beach was packed. So go early and you can get a glimpse of what the beach used to look like before it became a victim of popularity. When you leave, the dockmaster will call in your longtail boat, and it's simple and easy. Maya Bay is not the only thing to look at this island. There's plenty of other little lagoons and inlets to explore. The resort has a great app that allows you to call for a buggy to get around from place to place. Walking is fine, but remember the heat and humidity can't be expressed properly by video. Normally the buggy service is great. On our last visit, when it was busy, the buggy service was a bit hit and miss. If you needed to get anywhere by a certain time, it was sort of better just to walk. We cancelled the buggy a number of times and just walked after a few times having to wait over 30 minutes. On one of our stays, we noticed that the sand behind the seawall had dropped or leached out and it needed reworking. One of my subscribers reported that when they stayed, they were disappointed because, quote, huge diggers and lots of workmen on the beach every day, and it was annoying. And also commented that there was nowhere to get cash out and the internet was non-existent. We didn't find any of that problems. I can see that at some point they would have to repair things, and I suppose that's the same with any hotel. We've never seen any issues, but I can see with the seawall it did need maintenance, and unfortunately probably sometimes you'll go there when the hotels are doing maintenance. On our last day there was no signs of any maintenance going on and everything was in perfect order, so the seawall had been completely restored. I can't remember if there are any cash outlets on the resort or in the village. Maybe not. I can't confirm if that's an issue or not, but hearing that report, it may be a good tip to carry cash before you arrive. And as for the internet, we've never had an issue on any of our stays, but I thought it was worth mentioning. When you're checking out, the hotel has organised scheduled departures by longtail, where you can share a ride with one or two other couples around to the Ton Sai Pier area. Worth booking ahead if you're using that option. It's all very organised and orderly. You can grab a coffee at Mr. Bean, or the Bean Company as its proper name, while you wait for your ride, and it's just relaxing and just get on the boat when they call your name. Obviously if the tide's out when you depart, then you'll need to get out to the boat either by wading or by a boat transfer, but it's all very simple. Or you can go out by the sort of scheduled commercial speedboats, similar to the way most people arrive. But I think the hotel longboat is probably one of the cheapest options. If you don't want to go in the scheduled longboat times for the hotel, you just organise your own longboat just to zip around to Ton Sai or another part of the island. Sometimes we've organised our own long-tail transport just straight off the beach, and that's mainly when we want to go around to another resort on Phi Phi, and you can just pull up straight on the beach, straight to the other resort, and sort of come in their back entrance. It's much easier than going to the Ton Sai Pier and then walking to the resort. All depends on where the resort is and just what makes sense, but you can just do it yourself. I'm just showing you a compilation of a number of the departures we've had, either by our own longtail boat, the hotel longboat or speedboat, and at different tide times. So in this last time we left, the tide was probably further up than it has been before, and rather than using the sort of gangplank walkway, we boarded straight off the seawall, which was an easy way just to step down into the boat. But they do all the baggage for you, they load it all up, and all you do is just get on board and sit down, and I'll take care of the rest. And this time when we were leaving, there was a potential for some spits of rain. It wasn't raining, but it was potentially going to rain before we got over to the Ton Sai Pier. So they wrapped up bags with plastic just to keep them waterproof. Many places you'll go in Thailand, they don't bother wrapping your bags, and the bags are exposed, and you'll get to the other end and there'll be water comes in that zip area on the bags, and you'll find your clothes get wet. So if your bags are outside and you're on a boat, make sure they cover them up or get the bags inside, because even though they're waterproof bags, the water will go in from the zips. SAii Phi Phi wrapped up the bags so there was no chance of getting wet bags. Just while I'm talking about zips and water, if you're ever on a boat, or mainly a speedboat, and there's water splashing up onto the bags, make sure you either move the bag or get the bag covered up. If salt water gets onto your zip, it will jam up that zip. Once that water dries, the salt water dries on the zip, it'll destroy the bag. So that is it for the review and tips on staying at SAii Phi Phi Island Village. It's maybe our favourite resort on Phi Phi. Is it perfect? No, but it's way better than the chaos over at Ton Sai Pier area. Much more laid back, less noise. You're not sharing the beach with day trippers from the mainland and other resorts. It's the island village at the back with the bars and shops are a huge bonus. It's got good swimming pools, good eating options, not far from the other attractions. It's easy to get to the other places, and I think it's really good value for money. If you found the information helpful, please consider giving a thumbs up, and if you want to see more videos, subscribe to the channel, and you'll see lots of other videos on other resorts on Phi Phi and Phuket and around Thailand. You can also find us on Instagram at globe.bug and Facebook at globebug and TikTok at globebug.